We want to welcome Seva Nibley to the podcast today. She does Ayurveda, and we're so excited to be able to learn what Ayurveda is and how it can benefit our life. We know that healing comes within, and overlooking over all of your stuff, I can see how this can really bring us back to who we are and healing within and how it can bless our life.
And there's so many more different forms of healing. You know, a lot of people may not be aware of Ayurveda. I've heard of it a little bit, but even when we were talking earlier with her, I don't know enough. So we're really excited to have you, and so we can learn and give people another opportunity to have one more thing that they can look at in their healing journaling.
And you came from California. You're in Lehi, Utah now, and you teach people, and you have courses and a lot of different opportunities for you to bless the community. So can you start out by telling us, what is, who are you and what is Ayurveda and all that stuff, so we can find out a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So I just recently relocated here from California.
Are you originally from here, or did you move
originally
back?
From here.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to get a bad rap about being a California person transplanting.
You don't want to be one of those, huh? Okay.
But I was there for a couple decades, just learning, growing. I raised a couple children and all of that. So
where did you live in California?
All over San Diego County.
Oh, okay. San Diego.
All over.
Okay.
Up north, south, east, west, all of it. So, and then the last 5 years I was in Nevada City, where the California College of Ayurveda is. And that's where that's one of the places I was just exclusively doing my Ayurvedic training.
Uh-huh. So
I was living there. I was being educated there. I was on staff there. And I was also simultaneously being trained and educated from Kerala Ayurveda, and that's in the Bay Area. Kerala is actually a state in India where Ayurveda was born. I was going to
say Ayurveda is an Indian healing technique, right?
Yeah, and so Kerala is the southern state in the country of India where its roots are still growing, and the birthplace of Ayurveda, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, so I relocated here mostly to support my family and be near them in these days and times, especially right before COVID happened. And when I got here, I realized how little Ayurveda is being offered here in Utah. So it was also a good opportunity for me, I thought, to come and, it's part of Ayurveda is to help it grow, to share it with your community. It's part of the responsibility we have as practitioners to go where it needs to be shared, right? So it's been an interesting journey just to connect with people. I mean, it's all been post-COVID that I've been able to really start growing. But, slowly but surely, those of us in the Ayurveda community are coming out of the woodwork. And the only thing is, there is so little of it here.
And because there's little of it, people don't know what it is. So let's kind of go
exactly.
there. What in a nutshell, what is Ayurveda? So people, we talked a little about you being an Ayurveda practitioner. People are still going, okay, I still don't know what it is. So what is it?
Ayurveda is 2 words in Sanskrit, which Ayur means life, and Veda is science or knowledge.
Okay.
So the word Ayurveda translates to the knowledge or science of life.
Gotcha.
So it is a holistic, valid medical system that did originate in India, but it's actually very universal. It's just a universal science of living in balance with your individual constitution according to your environment and to the nature where you live. so it can be modified to any person and to the environment you're in. The principles can be applied to anyone, anywhere.
So is it more of a, is it from your standpoint as a practitioner, is it more of a, is it like a diagnostic technique? Is it just an overall well-being living technique? Is it a kind of, explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's kind of all the above in that regard. When it started, it was about living in balance and harmony with nature, and with like the circadian rhythms, with eating in season, and then it developed into a very valid medical system where there's surgery. There's 7 branches of it. So the first surgeries and even acupuncture. It's the oldest medical system in the world. It dates back basically to the beginning of nature, and it had an influence on all the other medical systems. So everything in it, as far as medical and there was ancient texts that go way back that describe how this medical practice was being used in the community, way back in the beginning of the days. So it's pretty phenomenal that something that old can still be tangible and applicable today in this modern world. And it's really exciting because there's so much science that is being done now with Ayurveda. So the principles are actually starting to be backed up with science, which I know a lot of Western people really like. They like the science of it, and I like the science of it. It's fascinating, and it's the sister science to yoga. So yoga and Ayurveda are under the same umbrella in the Ayurvedic sciences and the Vedic sciences. So where yoga concentrates on more maybe the mind and the body alignment, the Ayurveda is the wellness side of it. Oh, okay. So yeah, so it goes together like that. It kind of comes from the same root.
So in your facility, do you do a lot of yoga stuff as well then too, or no?
No, so I focus more on the wellness side. With Ayurveda in the yoga community, it is used for education. If you were doing a yoga teacher training, you might have some Ayurveda in your curriculum. And if you're really a seeker and inclined towards holistic health and wellness, then Ayurveda would really resonate with you.
So let's say you have a client that comes in, then what would you do with them? Like, what would be their process, or how is it you take care of them? What would they expect when they came in to see you?
Mm-hmm. So with Ayurveda, it's kind of like it's health coaching, it's wellness counseling. So you would do an intake form. I would have you do an intake form first, where you would just general information, even family health history, kind of what your health goals are now that you want to work on, and just an overall getting a sense of your life and what your needs are, and even kind of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis now, just to give me an idea of what it is that could be throwing you out of balance or causing the disease or symptoms that you're experiencing and wanting help with. So we go through the intake form and kind of answer those questions and give me a picture of that. The second thing you would do is a constitutional assessment. And it's just a series of questions, more like, do you prefer hot weather over cold weather? Or do you prefer salty taste over sweet taste? Because everybody is an individual, and Ayurveda recognizes that, that we we're all individual, like snowflakes or fingerprints, right? So what works for me is not going to work for you. So in order for me to find out what's going to work for you, I have to get to know you as an individual. What are your habits? What are your patterns? What is your morning and evening routine? What do you eat all day long, and at what time? Like, this all factors in to what's going to be optimal health for you. So together, it just creates a journey that we can work towards your health goals and help you find that perfect balance for you. And that perfect balance for you is going to be found in living according to your constitution, eating according to your constitution, and having even a livelihood, a job, a career where you're in alignment with your constitution.
So everybody's basically, you're telling me that everybody's treatment or care is going to be different depending on.
It's completely
how we are.
customized, personalized.
So
to
let
the
me ask a simple question. So you have our Ayurveda, and you've gone to school to learn Ayurveda, went to the College of California that's in Nevada City, which is kind of funny.
I know.
So what I guess distinguishes Ayurveda from just somebody that says, I'm a health coach and I'm doing these same kind of things? Does that make sense? Because I know Ayurveda is a specific thing. So what is like that? I guess I'm looking for, what is that distinguishing factor that says this is why it's Ayurveda?
Yeah, it's in that constitutional assessment. It's learning about your constitution. In the Western,
give a definition of constitution. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so there's in the concept of Ayurveda, they work with the 5 elements.
Okay.
Similar to Chinese medicine, right? You have the elemental theory. So the 5 elements: water, earth, fire, air, and ether, which is space. You have these 5 elements, and of these 5 elements, all things in nature exist, and we're all made of these 5 elements: human beings, animals, and trees, all of nature. We're all made of the same stuff, right? So when we're born, there is a certain elemental ratio in the womb and the sperm, and when that comes together, whatever ratio that those elements are presenting is what you get in your physical body, and that is your created constitution. And that's your constitution. You'll have it all of your life, and it'll never change. But
of those 5 things, you have different percentages, if you want to say.
Yeah, you have a different ratio.
The 5 things. Okay.
And so of those 5 things is created into the 3 doshas, and doshas are your constitution. So let's say I'm primarily made up of fire and water, then I would be a pitta constitution. If I'm air and ether, then I'm a vata constitution. If I'm earth and water, then I'm a kapha constitution. So now that I know what my constitution is, or where the main, we have all 3 doshas in each one of us: vata, pitta, and kapha. We have all 3, but it's a matter of how much of each do we have in our constitution. And once we assess that, then we are able to prescribe the daily and seasonal routines that would be beneficial and best for you and in your constitution, the foods in the diet, and any herbs that could support your healing process. And there's treatments, there's therapies that are prescribed. I also give these therapies. So as well as doing the assessment and the health counseling, I'm able to prescribe and carry out the body treatments as well that help. And with the treatments, we can talk about that, but so it's a matter of really honing in on what your constitution is. And there's different diagnostic methods for this, as well as the questionnaire. There's tongue diagnosis, there's pulse diagnosis, face, eyes, hands, ears. Like it all factors into really honing in on your individual constitution and what's going to work best for you. And once you know what your constitution is, it's called Prakruti, the one that you're born with. If we can find where the imbalance is, work on that. Once you're in balance with your Prakruti, that's what we work towards, then you'll be in optimal health for you.
So give an example of like a tongue diagnosis. Because I've heard lots of things that you can analyze the tongue, you can see different things. If there's certain things, certain lines, stuff like that. There's different mineral deficiencies, stuff like that. So just of the things you mentioned, let's just do a quick one with the tongue diagnosis. Like, what are you looking for? What are the things you're trying to see?
The first thing I'm looking for is how much coating is on the tongue.
So they just stick out their tongue and you're analyzing it.
Stick out their tongue and I look how much of a coating is on there.
Right.
And then what color is it?
Okay.
Because it does vary in color and it does vary in thickness as far as how much it's coated. That's the first thing I look at. And then I try to see, if there's any lines or cracks that will help me understand their constitution or imbalances. And then another interesting thing is on the sides of the tongue, if there's some kind of scallopy formation, then that tells me something too.
So give us an idea of things of kind of what they tell you, just I guess in it.
So the coating on the tongue shows me a basic level of toxins that are in their body.
Right.
Because when we sleep, we are detoxing, where our body is going to work and having a cleansing process. Mm-hmm. And so it deposits whatever it's kind of gathered, not all of it, but some of it onto the tongue. And so when I work with people, it's a given that I'll always say, do you scrape your tongue in the morning? You want to scrape that off before you brush your teeth, the first thing you do when you wake up. So because you don't want to put it, like your body has done all this work to get it out. And if we don't take that last step and make sure it gets out, then we're just putting it back in. And it's just one way to help detox yourself, cleanse yourself.
So like when you brush your teeth in the morning, brush your tongue kind of thing.
No, you get like a spoon or like a tongue scraper and literally just go to work scraping that out. Like a toothbrush, it doesn't really get that off very much. I mean, maybe a little, but not like a nice scraper, tongue scraper.
And in Ayurveda, what are the divots on the sides? What does that mean?
Malabsorption.
Okay.
Your digestive system isn't functioning optimally, so therefore you're not absorbing all the nutrients that you need.
Does dehydration fit in that as well?
Dehydration is where you find the cracks,
mostly.
Yeah, and the dryness.
Well, all of that is really kind of interesting. And so how can people, are you able to be online, or you just have people come into the clinic? Like, how is it people can get Ayurveda from you? Like, do you teach it, or what is it how people can get a hold of you?
Yeah, consultations, because of they've always been able to be done online, but because of COVID, it's become more of a more of an opportunity. It's just been more. It's just really grown, and it's been offered. You're more able to offer consultations and things like this on Zoom because you can see each other still. If you were, there's a lot more opportunities to work online with people now, which is really nice and convenient.
Do you like to do the initial assessment though, one-on-one, personal? I would think that would be something that would be better.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're doing these other things, you want to see it. Yeah.
Like I can't obviously check your pulse and all of that, but there's ways to work together online, definitely. There's a lot of kind of trendy, I would say, popularity growing around Ayurveda in the realm of cleanses and detox programs and like group home cleanses and things. So these things are growing in popularity, and not that they're the number one thing I would recommend, but if you don't have anything else, then that's wonderful. It is better to work, my opinion, with someone one-on-one and to really get the guidance you need, because it's not, in a lot of ways, it's very simple. It's very simple principles and applicable, but in some ways, people really benefit from and kind of need the one-on-one guidance, because like I said, everyone is different. You can't just blanket a whole group of people and say, this is what you all should do all at the same time. Everybody kind of needs individual tweaks or things in their
That's kind of
in
why
their
I was saying, like, on
stance
the
and
initial
such.
assessment, I would think that would be important to at least do, if that one can be in person would be best. And then, if you're just talking, you can do it like this, but if you're actually trying to do something with that patient, it would be better to do one-on-one, but at least you can do things that are online, which is nice, especially in today's world. How many Ayurveda practitioners are there in Utah that you know of, would you say?
So 1, 2.
And I guess would be
I know
officially.
there's 3
Okay.
that have completely finished school in their
Done the
practice.
courses and are would be considered legit. Now, do you when you came to Utah, did you have to register? Did you have to licensure, or it's not a license?
Ayurveda is not yet licensed.
Okay.
It is
they're not going to do it for 3 people.
well, it's in California, there's thousands of Ayurvedic practitioners.
Okay.
Thousands. It's just slowly making its way into the Midwestern section, like on the East Coast and West Coast. It's all over, very concentrated. But so there's different organizations that are working on the licensing of it so that it can be insurable, which is really going to help. But I just want to mention that, as well as consultations, there are Ayurvedic treatments that people can explore.
Okay, yeah, let's go through those.
Yeah, so as far as like if you were just going to go get a massage, and you get a massage because you have achy muscles or whatever and you want to relax, Ayurvedic therapies target the nervous system and the lymphatic system. And it's really important to focus on those 2 systems because, for one, our modern world, we are very exposed to a lot of stress factors, not just in the environment, but just our schedules are busier, our social media, the overstimulation of media. And with more people working online now too, there's so much exposure to devices.
Right.
And this affects the nervous system. And most, probably 90, 80, the statistic I read recently, according to an Ayurvedic study, is 80 to 90% of modern disease is because of stress, right? Stress is the culprit. Stress is what is throwing people out of balance. It's what's causing these the digestive issues, which is almost like an epidemic right now, I would think, with what I've seen, is everybody's got some digestive situations going on, but it's a lot of it is caused by stress. A lot of the mental issues people are dealing with and physical issues that people are dealing with are caused by stress, is what we're seeing, is what we're finding. So when you target the nervous system, you're combating those effects of stress. So all the therapies in Ayurveda target that. They target the mind, and they help rejuvenate, kind of reboot, if you will, the nervous system. So they're transformational in that way. They help you maintain a healthy mindset and help, and it even helps your body kind of transform and heal. The lymphatic system, if you don't know, is our body's sewer system. Right. It's our body's waste system. and it doesn't have its own pump. Like the circulatory system, you have your heart. So this is a fluid that's circulating through your body, and that's where all the waste gets deposited in, and it brings it into your GI tract for elimination. But
and
when you are
is moved around by movement.
It's moved around by movement. You have to move your body. But so many people sit at desks,
right,
or sit on their couch and watch their phone and do whatever they do on their phone. And the movement part is becoming less and less in people's lives. But not only that, when you have health imbalances, cleansing and detoxing, as far as clearing out the lymph system, is really necessary, just even for maintenance, even for just like a seasonal maintenance. When the seasons change, the climate changes, the seasonal foods change, and it's really important to just like you would do an oil change on your car, we would want to do a cleanse or a detox or something to renew and rejuvenate our system by cleaning out the lymph and rejuvenating the nervous system.
And are you doing that through a cleanse, or are you doing that through tissue work, or both? Okay. Okay.
So a cleanse is kind of stepping back from your normal day-to-day stuff,
right?
Unplugging, eating a very nutritious but easily digestible mono diet. So you're just having like one meal pretty much that's very simple according to your constitution, the spices you would use, the herbs you would take. And then if you can't come in to do treatments every day, then you could do some things on yourself. And that's what I teach people to do, is how can they take care of themselves.
So you're trying to empower them, how they can be their own, personal healers. So we just have a few minutes left. So let's kind of end with that. What are the things that you're trying to do to help people? Because that's the nature of what our whole concept of is. We want people to be able to understand, yes, they may need practitioners and things of that nature, but what are things that they can do on their own so that they can be healthier through something that you can explain to them?
So the empowering part starts when you learn what your constitution is, and you learn because that gives you more of a path. And now I know more of a path of which way to go. It gives you some parameters. It gives you some understanding about who you are and what you need for you.
Okay.
And when you need it. And so that's kind of where the counseling comes in, is like, once you get taught these things, then you can start living according to your constitution. And it becomes a journey towards a better quality of life. And then there's just certain daily routines that you can do on yourself to maintain health. And there's like a whole list. The first, scraping your tongue, it's getting up, scraping your tongue. It's just teaching people daily routine and healthier habits to take care of their bodies. And when you understand what you need and when you need it, then you're empowered to make better choices.
Absolutely.
And when you understand what you're bringing into your environment that's bringing you out of balance, like if you're not able to sleep, if you're not able to digest your food very well, why? Like you could, some people just have no clue. Like, I don't know, this is just my normal everyday life. And that's totally understandable. We get into these social conditioned patterns, or even with our family life, we eat a certain way with our family because that's just how we eat. But as we grow older, and if it's not according to our constitution, then we start developing diseases and imbalances.
So Seva, can you tell us, how can people get a hold of you? Like, are you on the social platforms, or you have a website? Or what is it that you have?
Yeah, the Instagram is at Seva Ayurveda. The Facebook is Seva Ayurveda Facebook page. And LinkedIn, I'm Seva Ayurveda. And then my website is sevaayurveda.com.
Makes it
easy. So it's pretty straight across the
Now,
board.
do you have something? I know you talked about that you have some specials going on right now because of the new year.
Yeah, the new year, new you.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. The cleanses, the detox programs, they're all personalized, customized. They can be done daily with me. They can be done in your own home. And it's just a package that we put together, and that's all been discounted. There's a retreat that it's a mini retreat. So you just come see me for about 3 hours, and we do 4 treatments, and they just kind of seamlessly flow one into another. And it's a little mini cleanse, very nurturing, very beautiful, transforming. And there's all kinds of reviews on there, so you can read about people's experiences on the Google page.
Well, hopefully if they watch this podcast, it might be in a month or so, you'll still honor that. And then will you leave your phone number too? Just tell the audience your phone number, and then we'll finish up.
It's 385-202-3532.
Well, thank you, Seva, for joining us today and being able to let us just experience a little bit what Ayurveda is and know what it can do, because there's so many different healing opportunities out there. And I love the fact when you can become empowered to be able to become your own healer. I know that there's so many times that people are not taking advantage of really tapping into their bodies and just taking a moment to relax and to listen. And I feel that Ayurveda is that way to be able to just stop and relax and listen to our bodies and give it what it needs. So thank you for joining us today. And everyone can go to your website is sevaayurveda.com. Is that right?
Yeah, Seva Ayurveda.
And we'll have it in the links below. So thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day, and appreciate you being on the podcast.